What's up, everybody? Happy Hump Day, Wednesday, November the 6th. It's the recap lunch hour with me, Ryan McGuffey. I just finished up some lunch. I think I did a repeat performance of a place I'd already gone to at some point prior on a previous lunch hour. I went to Tony's Deli on the Northwest Side. Just an outstanding Italian. Yeah, looks like you were already eating. So shockingly, Cap took. Hi, Cap. This is the Ryan McGuffey Show, as you have adapted. All right, so plenty to get to. Questions, comments, concerns, fire away. But speaking of concerns, the Bears have plenty on and off the field. Major injury concerns. Cap and I just listened to Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, all meeting the media just a short time ago at Hallis Hall. Here's the deal. Jaquan Brisker still out with the concussion. That's been 31 days that he's been out. You can't make light of these things. There's certainly no reason to rush anybody back. We are all aware of the ramifications of concussions and CTE. And I mean, we knew of the Tua situation. He's back. Where's Mr. Kaplan? Right out of the gate, Cap. No one asked it. No one concerned about me. Captain Lightskin wants to know where you're at. There he is. See, taking phone calls, interrupting the lunch hour. Jaquan Brisker. So he's out. He's already been deemed out with a concussion. Andrew Billings he's out for the year. I mean, even though Matt Eberflus wouldn't officially say he's out for the year, he had surgery to repair a torn pectoral. He's gone. Let's be honest. He's out for the year. Okay. There's multiple players from around the league that have torn their pecs. They are done for the year. So he's out. That's a big presence in the middle on the defense. Then your two tackles, your right and left tackle. Okay. Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, both missed practice today with knees. Darnell Wright, status unknown. Matt Eberflus says Braxton Jones is progressing. But as we've seen over the past few weeks, guys who've been progressing have not gotten back on the field. So the Bears, let's see here. Does Cap trade Brisker for a second-round pick? Look, guys, you can't make a trade now unless we're in the offseason. The trade deadline's come and gone. The trade deadline was yesterday. The Bears traded Khalil Herbert for a 7th-round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals. So, no, there's no trading Brisker right now for a 2nd-round pick. That would be an off-season move, and quite frankly, I don't know why you'd make it when he's a key piece of your back four. JD, do you think we should have been more active at the deadline considering the injuries now? I think we put the injuries aside. Yes. Look what the Vikings did. They acquired a stud offensive lineman. I mean, the Bears have so much, they have so many problems on the offensive line, as we know. Okay. But they didn't get Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson goes to the Vikings. No one's really talking about it. Are the Vikings going to the Super Bowl? I don't know, but I've talked about this. You just got to get in the tournament, be the 7th seed, and then anything happens. But the Bears have played themselves out of the tournament, and at least as of this writing, as we sit here on the lunch hour. And yes, I thought they'd be more active, but I will say it takes two to tango. Sometimes teams overvalue players, draft picks, etc., or both, including the Bears. The Bears might have been seeking too much or asking too much in return for other players. So, there were a number of trades, but at the end of the day, the NFL trade deadline is not like the NBA trade deadline, the MLB trade deadline. I'd like it to be. It'd be a lot more fun. All right. Appreciate you, Captain. I'm doing well. Just was making a joke. Cap is officially on a radio show phone call right now, I believe, in Iowa. JD, Brandon Sheriff was a name too. Crazy to think they can't pay. Yep, I know. I look. They don't even have starters right now, and their depth has been tested, and they're out. You got backups that are out. Bill Murray's out for the year. So, not great. So, what's interesting is, look, the line, the sharps, they're on it. They're sharps betting the Patriots. That line opened at 7 when the games, when Sunday's games went final, which I thought the way the Bears have been playing the last 2 days or 2 weeks, I thought that was too high. I know the Bears have played well at home. They have the longest home winning streak in the NFL, but look, do they deserve to be laying a full touchdown right now? I don't think so. And now with all of the injuries, that line at 5.5 could come down. If you're thinking about betting the Patriots, I think you might get that might get down to 5, 4.5, 5 by the time we kick off on Sunday at noon. So you're seeing this. I mean, here are the injuries, the big ones. Brisker's still out. Billings out for the year. And then you have your 2 tackles. You just can't afford to have any linemen go down. It's not a good situation right now at Hallis Hall. Let's go with JD. What do we got, bud? What do you think about the sideline? Okay, I'm glad you brought this up. So DJ Moore, I've been pissed about this because the video that's been going around of DJ Moore walking off the field when Caleb Williams was still scrambling to keep a play alive early in the game Sunday at Arizona, he was hurt. I watched that in the naked eye. I saw he was hurt. He kind of limps, kind of falls, crutches a little bit when he hits the sideline, and then the video stops right after he goes to the bench. He gets to the bench, and you could see the way I don't want to say crumbles, but the way he sits down, he's holding his lower leg. He said, he confirmed it today. It was an ankle. He was trying to play through it. There's no issues. He was asked quite a few times today about the relationship with him and Caleb Williams. DJ Moore is fine. He could be pissed or upset that things aren't going well, that the offense was doing this before the bye and is doing this since. But come on, guys. He didn't walk off the field in frustration. Okay? He walked off the field because he couldn't put weight on his leg. Then he came back right after. He didn't miss any time. Okay? He didn't miss any time. He came back. And I'm glad that was addressed today because I thought it was BS, to be honest with you. The tweets that were out there were some still frames of it. Like, interpret this. Interpret it. Watch the film and be fair. Watch the film and be fair. That's all I ask. If a guy's showing crap emotions or if he's walking off the field, then we call him out. Chris, hey, Guff and Cap, should we draft a new safety? Are you making any more Chasing Greatness shirts? Great question. I think we do have some Chasing Greatness shirts available. We're talking about bringing those out to our Hooters locations. Our next Hooters show, November 19th. We will be in Orland Park for all of our friends down on that southwest side. We'll be in Orland Park. All right, Orland Park. So yeah, I don't look in terms of making more. We will let you guys know, but we do have some more Chasing Greatness stuff. So should we draft a new safety? I mean, I think we're good right now. I want linemen. I want offensive line. To me, it's all about protecting 18. Everything's about 18. Everything around him, everything in front of him, and everything in the future should all be about number 18. So I don't need a new safety right now. I need some offensive line help. We are picking top 10 again. Jimbo, not right this second we aren't, but man, they got to change it and change it fast, and they got the toughest schedule in the NFL coming. So, Steely, what's up, my man? I'd trade Brisker in the offseason while you can get the most for him, and only due to his health. His skill is there, but 3 concussions in 3 years scares me, paying big money. Keep in mind, whatever you know, so do other teams, okay? Other teams are aware of the concussions. Other teams are aware of what's going on right now, that a concussion's missed a month. He's still going to be out more. So I understand it. The question is, what are you realistically getting? Like what value? Earlier there was somebody who said a 2. I don't know. It's not usually how. I mean, some of these skill position players aren't getting 2. So Ira, what's up? Good to see you. Will that include Chasing Greatness hoodies, sweatshirts? Guys, if the demand is high for merch, we will print it. We have the Take That hoodies. If you guys want those, we'll do the recap Take That hoodies. The Chasing Greatness hoodie sweatshirts were certainly a hit when we first started. So the fact that 2 of you have already chimed in here, that's a thing. Mo, what's up, my man? Bears lose this game. Eberflus must go. Next Bears coach, Cliff Kingsbury. I think Cliff Kingsbury, Mo, is a lot like Matt Eberflus, that they're both great coordinators. I think Cliff Kingsbury might be better suited doing what he's doing right now. I mean, not to say he won't get another chance. He was young when he got the Arizona job, but I think the success of Cliff Kingsbury is maybe just being a damn good offensive coordinator. So I don't think, to me, look, the Bears just had him in the building a few months ago to be their offensive coordinator, not their head coach. I see where you're going there. I don't hate it. Love you, by the way. But I think Kingsbury should be more of a guy you would consider to overpay as a coordinator. Now he's got a 3-year deal in Washington, so that you're pretty much out. Captain, Orland Park, let's go. See you November 19th, Captain. It'll also be Cap's actual birthday. So we are going to we're going to do it up. We're going to do it up at Hooters. We're going to have some surprises along the way. And yeah, you got to be there, especially if you're right down the road. No excuses. Ira, possible that the head coach gets a pass this year due to the injuries? I don't think so. Guys, there's no pass for how they lost on a Hail Mary. There's no pass for how flat they looked as a group in Arizona. There's no pass how unprepared they were out of the bye in the first half against Washington. That's not a pass. You don't get a pass for that. You don't get a pass for preparedness. They were not prepared coming out of the bye. It's almost like they were in the locker room at halftime and said, "Oh shit, we got a football game. Oh, we're in a football game here." And the defense kept them in it, and then they had to wake up and come out of it. And there's just no excuse. Off of a bye, you should be ready to go, rested and ready. Yes, every team has injuries, okay? So if we're giving Eberflus a pass, then I guess we give every team in the league that has a pass, or every team in the league that has injuries, a pass. There was a White Sox question in here. I'm going to get to it in here. Love you too, Mo. Should have traded up in the draft and drafted Alt instead of Rome. I mean, it's a valid point, and it's Monday morning quarterbacking a little bit, but I also think we've seen enough from Rome Odunze already to tell you that it's probably not going to be an extension for Keenan Allen, and you have a legit 1A in Rome. And if the Bears would ever realize that Cole Kmet can play the position and be a tight end, and that you're paying him $14 million a year, maybe get him some targets too. Jason, in your opinion, why won't the Bears fire? This is kind of a loaded question. It's more of an organizational thing. It's just not something the Bears have done. I don't know if it's because they don't want to pay a guy more money. I don't know if it's they don't like making uncomfortable decisions in midseason. But I will say that Kevin Warren isn't your father's Bears president. And that Kevin Warren is trying to get a stadium built, whether downtown or in Arlington Heights. I think Arlington Heights. And I don't think he's got much patience for what we are seeing. If there's a pattern here, if the Bears get smoked by the Packers and then on Thanksgiving Day lay a dud, I'm not saying. I think maybe, just maybe, there's a chance, but we'll see. Have you seen the tape of the scrambles? A lot of the receivers standing in place and not moving open. Also, not a lot of downfield blocks. I have seen the all 22. JD, I also say this, man. There's a couple times, and Dan Orlovsky on ESPN talked about this, during a drop back where Caleb's taking a 3 or 5 step drop and ready to throw the football. All of the receivers have their back turned to him. That tells me that's a bad play call. If all three or 4 of your options still have their backs turned to you and you're ready to fire, something's going on. It's not a good play call. And I think the passing game looks like it's broken again. It's been a concern all year. Shane Waldron has not been a good offensive coordinator for the Bears. And I think the biggest concern for all of us as Bears fans and people who cover the Bears, it's that insanity is what the definition of insanity when you do the same thing over and over again, right? And how many times have we seen a rookie quarterback, a coach on the hot seat with an offensive coordinator, and then it doesn't work out. They fire the coach, they fire the OC, and then you start all over again with the new quarter. I don't think quarterbacks, high draft picks in the NFL fail all the time because of talent. They fail a lot because they're not put in good positions to succeed. It's not that they're not talented. It's that they're going through 2, 3, 4 head coaches in a span of one rookie contract, and they never can play themselves out of it. Eli, I know it's not the topic. Can you give more information about Daryl Van Schouwen's report about Chris Getz trades and free agents? Yeah, so I'm not at the GM meetings, okay? But certainly a couple of reporters are, and basically Getz said this yesterday about Garrett Crochet. I'm trying to find it. He knows what he's got with Garrett. Okay, here. Easier said than done to build a rotation, extend Crochet. This is about extending him. We've obviously been very excited with what he has become in a White Sox uniform. That said, we've got to be very honest with ourselves about where we're at. I love that. I love that because ships in the night. 2 years left on Garrett Crochet's deal. Where are the White Sox going this year and next? Not contending. Okay. So if you're not going to extend him, or maybe he doesn't want to be extended, you got to deal from the strength. Your bats, your offense is awful at best. It's literally the worst offense in the game. Okay. You barely cracked 500 runs. Barely. It's embarrassing. Okay. Garrett Crochet, with a pitcher like Garrett, you have an opportunity to get both high impact and upper level talent in a trade. He also said he wouldn't be surprised if he's his opening day starter. That's just, he's doing all the right things there. He's saying all the right things. I think you got to deal him. And they're not going to have a high payroll. We know that. They're probably going to cut some money. They're going to have, I think they're going to have more of the Lenine Sosa types from AAA, and then some Paul DeYoung, Nicky Lopez 1-year deal types. And we'll see if even Andrew Benintendi's back. So it's the DJ Moore stuff it's really interesting to me. There's a lot of people that seem pissed at DJ Moore. I personally don't get it, but I don't think you trade DJ Moore. Perhaps Caleb tries to be a hero because he knows he's not getting support. He's not getting support from the coaching staff. JD, blows my mind how they can't figure out a counter for the I know, right? Like, not all of us. It's football. Sometimes you just watch a little bit of film. Does Cap ever call you Sparky or Cookie? Sparkles? Oh, for sure. Come on. We're all called Sparky, Sparkles. I'm not much of a Cookie to him, and he's not in the room right now. But if he comes back in, I will ask him what his. Usually he just calls me Guff, which a lot of people do. I want to move on to this real quick for the Cubs. So Kyle Hendricks signs a 1-year deal with the Angels today, if you haven't seen, which officially ends an incredibly successful tenure as what I think is one of the best Cubs, certainly in recent lore, recent history. Maybe the game of his life against the Dodgers in the NLCS to send the Cubs to the World Series in 2016. I was at that game covering it for NBC Sports Chicago, as an electric environment as I've ever been on, running through the outfield with those guys, covering it with a camera and microphone. Loud. What he did, shut them down. I rocked Sweet Emotion from Aerosmith on the way to the office today. I mean, I blasted that. I love that. I think he's got one of the more underrated walk up songs of all time as a Cub. But the question is, I think it's a top 5 trade in franchise history. I do. I think acquiring Kyle Hendricks for Ryan Dempster is one of the best trades in Cubs history. Now, Ryan Sandberg from the Phillies back in the 80s, obviously really good. I think Rick Sutcliffe is also one of the better trades. Certainly Jake Arrieta from Baltimore. Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop. One of the greatest trades in Cubs history, baseball history, probably because of what they got, a Cy Young winner. And then it gets interesting. I'll go Sammy Sosa from the White Sox, one of the best trades in Cubs history. So that's 4. That's 4 in the past 40 years, 45 years. Okay. So I'm calling this best top 5 trade in my lifetime. Then I think you get in a discussion. I think Kyle's 5th. I think Kyle Hendricks is 5th because of what he did as a Cub. He pitched game 7. All right. Here, I'm pulling up his stuff right now with the Cubs. He pitched. Okay. So he had a 21.5 WAR, 97 and 81 with a 3.68. Okay. He made 270 starts as a Cub. Aramis Ramirez, I could see that. It's a different era. It depends on how long Kyle wants to pitch. We are going to re-release, or it's already out, but we're going to push out the Kyle Hendricks podcast, the Cubs REKAP podcast with Cap and Gordon Whitmire. Kyle was on a few weeks, about 6 weeks ago, near the end of the year, talking about his future. He has no interest in shutting it down yet. So he could, or you could see maybe he comes back in the front office. Maybe, I don't know about pitching coach. I think he did talk about kind of leaving the game, raising a family, and coming back. He thinks he's a baseball lifer. But I think it's a top 5 trade. I think Kyle Hendricks is a bigger trade than Aramis Ramirez. Aramis Ramirez is one of the best trades the Cubs have ever made. Bobby Hill, if you remember, was the top prospect going to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They got Kenny Lofton, Aramis Ramirez, and I want to say they got Jose Hernandez too. I could be wrong about the Jose Hernandez part. But insane trade. Aramis became one of the best. He's in the Cubs Hall of Fame now. I think Hendricks is ahead of Aramis Ramirez because of what he meant to that 2016 Cubs run. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think he's a top 5 trade. I really do. 1-year deal with the Angels. That's out there, out west. I think he's a top 5 trade. Jimbo, how many games do you see the Bears winning the rest of the season? Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it right here. Let's pull up the Bears. Okay, here we go. Chicago Bears. All right, this week, New England Patriots win. Okay. Packers at home. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to split the Packers. All right, they're actually going to get a win against the Packers. So I'm going to do this. Home against the Vikings. I'm going to give that a loss. At the Lions, loss. At the Niners, loss. At the Vikings, loss. Do they lose all 3 of those road games? Do they lose all 3 of the road games? They've played Okay, so they've played the Lions very well in the Matt Eberflus era. I'm going to give them. They're going to win a game against the Lions. They're going to beat the Seahawks. They're going to lose at the Packers. That gets them to 8-9. Right? No. 4 wins. So that's 8-9. So think about it. They should have won the Washington game. They should have won the Indianapolis game. 8-9, some variation of 8-9. What do you think, Jimbo? I mean, that's what I think. So I don't know. I don't know. But the Kyle Hendricks, you guys must like my idea. You guys must think that he's a top 5 trade of all time. I got Cap thinking about it too. I think he's the 5th best trade in Cubs history. Certainly of my lifetime. Let's go back. We're going to go back at least 45 years. Okay. At least 45 years. I think it's the best trade of my lifetime. What do we got here? Broski, good to see you. McCaskey should look to sell the team to Trump. Okay. All right. Well, what would be a lunch hour after the election without getting a political line in there? 6-11, Ira says. Cap, can you believe it? Ira says they win 2 games the rest of the year. New England and Seattle. I don't see that. Ira, they're not getting swept by the division. That's wrong. That's just something being negative. I know we're down. I know it doesn't feel good right now, but come on, man. I don't see 6-11. I mean, 6-11, then someone might get fired in season. If they're not going to win a game, I'll say this. You're telling me they're going to win Sunday and then lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, then Matt Eberflus will not survive the season. If that's the case, Ira, he will not survive the season. All right, let's put a bow on this edition of the Recap Lunch Hour. A lot of concern up at Hal's Hall, right? A lot of concern, rightfully so. Again, here are the injuries that we're dealing with. And these are just the ones that are like the massive ones that stand out right now. Okay. But, Jaquan Brisker is going to be out. Billings out for the year. Wright, I think, will probably be out this week. Braxton Jones is progressing nicely. That's the recap right there. That's the recap. The Bears line has dropped 1.5 points. It might get down another point, depending on if we see these tackles be ruled out. So always appreciate the banter. Appreciate you guys hopping on every day. The questions, keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. And we will continue to keep on keeping on here on the Recap Lunch Hour. Plenty to discuss tomorrow and into the weekend. The Bulls play tonight. We'll see what happens with them. The up and down Bulls. We'll see if Zach LaVine's in or out. I haven't seen an update on that yet. And we will see you guys tomorrow on another edition of the Recap Lunch Hour. I'm Ryan McGuffey.